Hello and welcome to this session of ConsensusCON. We are going to be going over 6 ways to speed up sending demo boards in your workflow. My name is Alex Edwards. I am the Director of Client Success here at Consensus, so I'm happy to be with everyone today. And I have my trusted companion, Sam Ruiz, who is going to be uh, keeping control of the chat and Q&A section and making sure that I'm staying within the allotted time limit. So grateful to have him here with us. Just a couple things here to get started. ConsensusCon, we're focused on helping customers and future customers scale pre-sales with demo automation. Our presenter lineups include both existing customers, consensus employees, and industry experts. So we hopefully there's some different sessions that will be beneficial to you and your teams as you go throughout the day. And all these are going to be recorded. So if you do have a conflict or there's 2 sessions, you can't make both of them at the same time, we'll make sure that we can get these available to those who are requesting, and those who have registered, it'll be available as well. So a couple other things here. We are going to be launching our forum. We're really excited about this to help build up our user community and give everyone kind of a space to be able to communicate with one another, to talk best practices, to ask questions that get other perspective outside of just consensus. So that will be launching here shortly. And then next month, we're going to be kicking off a monthly webinar series for clients specifically. So you'll be able to learn more like sessions like these here, where we're going to go through different ways to enhance your use with consensus, but also new products or just different requests that we've received from our user base. Okay, so there will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation today. So if you do have a question, go ahead and drop it in the Q&A section, and that will allow you to be able to have that. And we'll try to get to those at the end of the session there. There is a chat, but you'll probably want to put everything in the Q&A. Okay, so to get started today, appreciate everyone jumping on. We are going to go through what are the 6 different ways to speed up sending demo boards in your workflow. And specifically, what we want to be covering today are what are the types of tools that you can use today. And maybe you have some of these, maybe you have all of them, but we want to make sure that we cover as many as we can and give you as many tips and tricks that we can offer to make it so that it's, as you're creating demo boards and sending them, it's not a repetitive process, or that you can, do it in an efficient manner. So specifically, we're going to be jumping through the basics, right? The consensus platform. How do we send through that system? The consensus snap tool, which is now compatible with both Chrome and Edge. So we're really excited about that one. And then we're going to dive into, I think, where we're going to find the most use out of this presentation is through the Gmail integration, which is utilizing our Snap integration, as well as the Outlook integration, which is specifically for the PC users. We'll talk more about the Mac users here in a moment. And then we're going to dive into what our Salesforce integration looks like, as well as there's a little bonus one here for those who want to do mass sends. And this is something that we've heard people, reach out and ask if we have these types of capabilities. And some people know about this and are utilizing it, others are not. So we wanted to highlight it in this section. But how can you use our mail merge integration to be able to blast out these demo boards and make them personalized for your prospects? So to begin, we're going to go ahead and get some things that we just need to clear off. Regardless of what tool you're using, this is going to be the most thing. And that's why I put it at this obnoxious green thing here, because I really want you to know that this is important. So get familiar with the content you have. It really doesn't matter what tool that you're using if you don't know the content that your team has made available, or your sales reps don't know the content that the pre-sales team has created for them. There's no way that we can speed up this process of creating a fast and efficient way of sending demo boards. So a few things that we've seen here, just to let you know, what some teams have been doing to really take advantage of this is jump into the manage demo section, guide your sales reps to do the same thing. Once you're in the account, you have access to be able to see all of the different content that's currently available to those users. One of the things, if you were on one of the earlier session today with Brian Zurcher, who's our senior product manager, he reviewed some changes that are coming through to the managed demos section. And with those changes, it'll be much easier for the users to see that entire library, know what's available today. But until then, they can still do the same thing through the manage demo section. So they'll be able to jump in here. If they click on the eye icon, which you can see here is under the actions, it's the one on the left. They're able to preview the demo without it having any type of influence to the demo board itself. So they don't have to create a test demo. They don't have to send themselves something, which we've seen a lot of users do that, and it influences the analytics negatively. So that would be one of the things that we're really trying to push is get familiar with that. And what I would recommend doing, and we've seen some sales leaders do this as well as pre-sales leaders, is they're actually creating cheat sheets for you to be able to send either to your sales reps or to other users inside the platform. And they're highlighting specific demos based on either the product or by the, what's the sales play, or if it's a solution package or whatever the case may be. And so, following what we believe are our 6 demo types, some of those things that people call out are, what's the first touch demo that you do? So, if it's the very first time we're talking to a prospect, or maybe it's a BDR or an SDR sending something out, what would be a good initial touch for that prospect? And then as they get into the sales cycle, one of our hot areas right now that a lot of teams are picking up on is a BDR and SDR has that initial discovery call, send them over a micro demo. So what would be that, dip into the product? It's not a full in-depth dive into the product or solution, but just really a trailer version of what the pre-sales would do in a live setting. What does that demo look like? Can you call that out for specific product lines to be able to send over? Others, as you get further in, the nurturing demos, or what we'd call qualifying discovery demo, or a pre-live technical demo. What are the things you want your prospect to know before they get with a solution consultant or a sales engineer? All of these things are great things to just highlight and be very prescriptive to your sales base to let them know, hey, these are the things that we would recommend sending. It takes away some of the uh, issues that the AEs are having to come in here, or the SDRs have to come in here and find the content. If you can prescribe it to them initially, it makes that less frictionless for them to be able to start using the tool. So knowing this, despite whatever tool you're using, this is going to be a great base to build on top of, as it's going to influence everything else that you're doing. All right. And we do have some assets that we can make available to the team that basically have a sales cycle where you can then plug in different places of what demos could be used and offer that as a resource to your sales reps if you want to get access to that. Now, the first one that we're going to talk about is the most basic. It's what everybody starts with, and what most everyone will start initially training the reps to do first is using Consensus to send these demo boards. And for those who may not know what a demo board is, the consensus language, it's translated into just a personalized link for your prospect. So all of these different ways are going to be how we can create a personalized link to the sales rep or to the prospect. So with that, let me jump over here into my test account. And I'm just going to go through what I've done if I only have the consensus platform to use, which I'll be honest, this is one of the, now that we have some other integrations, this is the last place that I go to send demos today. But as we are first starting, when you go into create a demo board here, the biggest thing that you'll see now, and there's been some restructure, but where the most time is taken is in this section here of adding user information. And the easiest way that I've been able to just go through and try to cut corners as best I can is you're going to go through and pick the demo, and you'll see that in all of these tools now, you're going to find your demo first and then add your recipients. And then under the recipient information, I cheat, as I know I'm going to have to send this email to, through the actual Gmail or Outlook account. I jump into my account and I add the user's information up above. And then for me, the quickest way that I do this is I'll simply copy these emails and then paste them into this section. And the way most people have their email today is it will allow them to be able to see, okay, I've got first and last name. I can easily just drop that in here. That's as quick as we can get in this section. And so you'll just come in, drop in the other details here, add your other user, and then I just jump back over here and really mirror the same thing with Rex, right? So grab his information. And this is helpful. I know these people, so I can get their first and last name. But when I don't know someone, adding their email first is just the way that makes it easier. I've seen people do this live, and what they'll typically do is they'll go back and forth and get, okay, his name's Brian Zercho, come over here and add it. And then they'll come back here and add the email. Seems like a no-duh thing, but if it's a quick way to be able to get access and get the right information there, copy that email address, paste it in. Now, once you're done with this, you'll be able to go through and mark it as a, if you want someone to be a notifier within your account. So if you're working with an SDR or a BDR, and they want to add their account executive or something, or an AE adds an SC, whatever the case may be, you can still add them through the additional options section, create the demo board, and then once you're ready to go, you're just going to come in here and customize the demo for that specific prospect. So in this case, I always put, whatever the demo is. So maybe it's an overview demo for Consensus, right? And then I'll put in the key here is how long that's going to take, 15 minutes. Whether we're using this or the Snap integration or Gmail or Outlook, I always recommend using the image link. There are a few exceptions to this where you can use a text link, or some of our integrations, as we'll find out later on in our presentation today, default to use the button link. But if you have an option to choose, this is going to be the most engaging. And again, if you were on the earlier session with Brian, you'll see that we are adding GIF capabilities to this down the road, which will make it even more enticing to be able to click on. Everybody loves to click on things with play buttons. And now if that video is already moving behind it, it makes it even more easy to make that happen. So you go ahead and copy that and then simply paste it into your email. So this is your standard approach. There's nothing really fancy here. The only shortcut that we have to offer is just copying those email addresses once you've added them into the to section of your email, paste it here, and you're good to go. Now, if we look at the Consensus Snap tool, which is the second thing up that we have on our docket, it's the exact same process. There's really no change in this. The only benefit is now I can pull up Consensus Snap and I have it right on my email. And all I'll do is come in here and grab the demo that I want to be able to consume. And I'll be able to then fill out the information for that user doing the exact same approach. One thing I want to highlight here, and it's a recent update, it literally just went out maybe a week and a half ago, is now users have the ability to preview links right from within Snap. So in the past, people, if they wanted to know what this demo was, they would have to create their own demo or jump into Consensus, go into the demo management tab, and now they had access to preview all of the different content here. With the Consensus Snap update, you now have the ability to simply preview right from this section here. So it's going to pull up a new tab. It'll play it as a preview. And for me, this is really nice because if we've got multiple demos that are similar in name, but maybe just have a little change in, if it's maybe an admin versus a sales rep versus a pre-sales focused demo, I can come in here and just quickly, go through this and make sure that I've got the right demo that's queued up. So with that, with Consensus Snap here, same principle applies. You're going to jump in. You have the ability to add multiple users. It's going to make you add your organization first. And then as you come in here, I do the same thing. The only tricky part is you're dealing with a much smaller space. So there are times where you may not be able to see their first and last name right away. But then if you click in, you're able to go ahead and do that. So it's not going to change anybody's way of running through Consensus Snap or through the platform, but it does make it so it's a little bit easier for you just to come in here, create it, and then you're going to copy and paste that right into your email. So process very much the same. Where things get interesting and where we think most people are going to be able to use this in a way that will benefit them and speed up the process is within the Gmail and Outlook integration that we have. So you'll see here that even though I have Consensus Snap up above, you'll see that down below inside of, and if we start in the Gmail integration, since we're just here, when you go through, you'll have the the Snap logo down here at the bottom of your Gmail composition. And as you're going through this, you'll add your users. Anyone that you have in the to section is going to be added into your demo. So if we click on this link to generate it, it's going to again ask us for our, the first thing, which is the demo piece. So if we grab that same demo, and now what you'll see is it already populates the information for my specific users. So in this scenario, I can see that Brian, Zurcher, Rex has already been added. And the way that Gmail works is they create pseudo contacts. Every time someone emails you, it's capturing that information. And usually the way that it's presented, it can determine what's the first and last name for that user. If some people have a unique email or they don't have that information, there may be chances here and there that you've got to automatically drop this in. Um, but for the most part, in my experience using this tool, is it's going to grab that info, it's going to push it over here into the integration, and they also made an update that we're going to try our best. I can't say that it's going to work every time, but they're going to grab the email suffix of the client that you're sending this to, and it's going to populate it in the organization. So for us, doesn't work. We have goconsensus.com instead of just our company name, which is Consensus. So I would come in here, change that to Consensus. And now we've got Brian, Rex's information, and it's as easy as just going through, grabbing whatever I need to do. The benefit here is it makes it super simple if I'm going to send multiple demos. So I just send them our platform training demo. If I come back in here and want to send them our, how to record a demo, now it's got their information pulled up already. All I'll need to change here again is just the C for consensus and send. Now I will say that most people, and then you just drop and paste it in there. What most people are requesting right now is I want to be able to send multiple demos to my prospects without having to fill out information over and over again. We've heard that request, and the team, again, going back to Brian's session earlier today, they are making updates that will allow you to send one demo board with multiple demos attached to it. So that will be coming hopefully early next year. Now, this is your next best option, right? If you can't send one demo with multiple demos, and at least you can send one email that has the different demos that you're calling out. Obviously, you want to make the descriptions on these much better than just what the default setting is with view demo, but it'll allow you to be able to quickly get in here, send out multiple demos to these two prospects or whoever else that you're adding, and then you're able to send it out and be on your way without having to fill out that information over and over and over again. Now, one thing to highlight here is when you go through this, we've made some changes to this integration that make it much easier for you to understand what's happening. So obviously you can preview the demo here, and then we'll just say we'll continue with the way it is just for the sake of the example. But this right here, this preview option, this will now allow you to preview it after you've added the information for your users. So again, this goes back to cover the, those people who are sending out demos for the first time and they're just not really sure how it's going to go, or they don't know what the use case is going to be, or what's the experience for the user. They have the ability now to preview this demo board, and it's going to preview it based on the contact information that you've added. So now I can confirm, I've got our logo here. It's telling me it's a preview, so that's all good. But now I can jump in and actually take a look at and make sure, is this really the demo that I need to be sending? On the flip side, inside of the Consensus platform, once you create a demo board for a prospect, you have the ability to be able to see in real time what that's going to look like once you have that data added. So if I come down here, now that I've created the demo board and I just want to confirm to make sure that it's accurate information, you have that ability here. It's going to act a little bit differently than what we just saw. It's going to populate the actual contact information for the user. So if there was one thing that was kind of a leg up on how users send from the main platform versus our integrations, the one thing I come back to is the fact that they do have the ability to really double check and make sure that the client's information is correct. They haven't misspelled their name. they can go through this entire process as if they were the client that they're sending us to, and it allows them to be able to do it all without influencing any type of analytics. So now that we've gone through the main platform, we've talked about Consensus Snap, and then we've gone through the Gmail integration. We want to hop over and show you what this looks like with Outlook, because there are a few things that are a little bit different that we need to make sure that we cover. Because Outlook and Gmail, as much as I wish that they would operate in the same way, they need to we need to call those out. So I have let's jump through here to our one that we're going to be going through. And now we've got our Outlook account set up. This is a virtual experience or virtual desktop, so it may be a little bit slow. I'll just put that caveat out there. But the big thing that we need to know about the Outlook integration is it doesn't keep track of contacts the same way that Gmail does. And so as you're getting emails coming through and it's new people that you're interacting with, or you're going to send something out, in order for you to really take the advantage of using the Outlook integration with Consensus, then what you're going to want to do is make sure that the people that you're reaching out to are contacts in your account. Now, I can't go out and say, use this tool to, because I've seen these different add-ins for Outlook that allow you to be able to just automatically add contacts. Anyone who emails you would be automatically added. That's probably something that you'll have to fight with IT. So just to show you the way that Microsoft recommends doing this is when you send these users, so I've got Brian and Rex here, they are contacts in my account. And how you know that they're contacts is if you click here on these little two people icon here, you'll see a list of all of your contacts. And I've got Brian, I've got Rex, I've got Fred and Velma and Shaggy from Mystery Incorporated in here as well. And now when you go to send an email and I do send demo here, you're going to put their information in the to section. And in fact, I'm going to have to make this bigger because it is super small, but when I make this big, it's going to go all over the place. So I'm going to try to make it so I'm not making everybody sick. Go slow. Okay. So what you see here is it's going to automatically add Brian, Rex right into the email. No problems. Miles is someone that I don't have as a contact. And so it's going to make me add his information in here as I begin. So Miles Taylor, I don't know why it's tracking like that. And then you're going to go through, it's going to grab their email domain just like it did in Gmail. So it's going to try to make as minimal steps as possible to make this happen. And now in here, you're going to go through and pick whatever demo it is. And once that's selected, you're going to see that it's going to populate the image down here. So we can now, customize this to whatever image we want. And now you're going to personalize this message, demo for consensus. And we say, and again, 15 minutes on this one. And now we're going to go ahead and click insert. And this screen's huge. So let me get back to normal size here. So now we have our nice little call to action to these three users. One thing that I've noticed for Outlook is it makes the image link pretty big. So you may want to just come in here and resize this so it's not too massive. The other thing to just be aware of is you need to make sure that when you go into add your users and you're ready to create the demo board link, you're going to want to make sure that your cursor is placed in the email. Gmail will catch on to it if you don't have it placed in there. It's going to automatically import it in there and drop it in the right place. But if you don't, you have your email or your cursor up here and you go to send a demo, it's not going to function the way that you want. So make sure typically what you do is you'll write out your email and then place the cursor, wherever you're wanting to insert that link. But just wanted to call that out as that's something that I've noticed as I've used this, that it could throw you for a loop. So what do you do for those users who are not contacts? If you simply click on them, you do a right click. Down here, it has this add to contacts. If you know that Miles is going to be a prospect that you're going to be reaching out to over and over again, I would take the, little time that it does here to go through, add their user information. You'll confirm what their first and last name is here, and then, file it as however you choose. If it's first name first or last name first, whatever. And you really don't need any other information outside of just the email and name for this to work. So you click save and close. And now if we open up another email, and if I come over here and compose one, and let's just say we add our same friends, so Brian, Rex, and then Miles, and I'll click down here to make sure the cursor's down below. When I click on this now, it's going to populate all of his information in here. So it's going to save you again from doing those repetitive, having to come back in here and fill that information out. And again, if you're sending multiple demos to a user, you would just come in here. Here's the one that we had for our standard demo example. Now I can come in and click on this again to send a different demo. So it's not your true multi-demo in one demo board, but it's a multi-demo in that email, which will hopefully make it so those reps who are sending mass, 3 or 4 different demos with one email to a prospect, the only thing they're really going to have to do with this is come in here, select the right demo that they're going to use, and then insert into their email. And then, maybe resize it if they want to keep it a little bit smaller. Okay, so hopefully this is what we're hoping this will do is just provide a remedy for those who are, clamoring for that multi-demo board feature, which we do have a high priority on that to try to get that out as quick as we can. I will say that this is a mature account problem where there's a lot of content and reps see a ton of usage for it. And so they're wanting to go through and send out a lot of different demos, but then are getting frustrated that they have to go through this process, especially if they're in the Consensus platform and having to fill this out every time. If you've got 5 or 6 different people, it could take you a good few minutes just to create the links for these, 5 people and send it out. So we really want to put a focus on the integrations that we have in place with Gmail and with Outlook for PC so that it will allow you to be able to do that quickly. So just a few things just to recap to make sure that we're clear on this. The big difference with Outlook is you need to make sure that they're added as contacts. As long as they're added as contacts, anytime after that you add them to a demo board or put them in the to section, it's going to automatically fill in their information, saving you a ton of time if you're sending multiple demos to multiple people. Now, the second to last thing that we're going to go through today is the Salesforce integration. And this tool, there's some unique things that we want to call out with this as well. So we'll make sure that we cover those. But inside Salesforce, you have the ability to send demos on multiple different levels. And there's a few ways that you can do this. If we start at the top with opportunities, you can jump into an opportunity, for example, and if we say, hey, here's this meta tech example, and this is just our test environment. So all this information you see here is just dummy info. But you'll be able to come in here and create a demo that will be tracked under this opportunity. So if you click on create demo invite, then we had a whole session on Salesforce earlier today. So if you have, or actually I think it was yesterday. I'm getting all the days mixed up. But it was yesterday. We have a whole session on this with our product manager and our integration specialist running through the Salesforce integration. So if you didn't have a chance to see that, you're using Salesforce, that's one that would definitely put a pin into to come back to. But as you can see here, they're going to fill out the information for the company. So there are some pieces that they're going to have to do to make this happen. So if we just say it's our Meditech account, and then recipients, you'll see the context that you have here. So it's as easy as just going in here and just clicking in, searching for that user. We've got John Bravo. It's going to add the contact information for them. So they can easily do that for multiple people if they want to send this to a whole group of people. And then the one thing that you really have to pay attention to in Salesforce that's different from all of the other tools that we have is this doesn't do a drop down right now. So what it's going to do is it's going to ask you, what are you going to search for? And then I'm going to say how to record a demo. And it's going to pull up the search results here. And I can see, okay, here's the one that I want to send. And then you come in and write your email and send it out to the prospect within Salesforce. The other thing to note is the only option that we have today if you send it this way, is a demo button. And what it's going to do is it's going to say, watch this demo. That's the main call to action for that demo. So you wouldn't be able to customize that button just yet. There will be changes down the road that will allow us to be able to put in a customizable button or a link. And we are investigating to see if we have the ability to create an image link inside of this, or generate one within the system. So that's still being investigated. So as you go through this, you'll be able to grab the list that you have. And this is probably going back to the very first thing that we talked about, having that cheat sheet. Inside that cheat sheet, obviously, you would want to list out by name what those demos are, so reps can easily go through this and find them. But that would be a way to kind of make sure that people don't get stumped as they're getting into this place. They've forgotten the naming convention internally, and you're good to go. So it looks like there's a question that came up right here. It says, how is the pick list of demos available populated here? Okay, yeah, good question. So it's anything that the user has access to send. So if they see that Alex is an admin in the account, it'll show all demos available. If you've restricted access to only a handful of demos, then they'll only be able to use those. So it should mirror the access that they have inside of the Consensus platform. So great question. Okay, so some other things to note here is you can do this again on opportunity. You can do this on a contact level. So if we go into one of our users here and say, hey, I want to send a demo to Fred Jones, you can easily just send it here. It's going to populate their information for you. So it's really easy to be able to do that. It's also going to add the organization if it has that for the user. So you're able to just go through and grab it. And then at this point, you're just going to find the demo that you want to send, add your subject line, personalize whatever this email message is here. We will be working on the ability to have multiple different templates that you can choose from. So if you wanted to create some other ones there and make those accessible to the organization, you can make that happen. And all of that will be available in future releases. What it will do today is just what you have here. So they would just personalize whatever they feel and then send it out. If they don't want to send from directly within the Consensus integration into Salesforce, but they just say, hey, I want to send something over to this contact, Fred Jones, you can email them just directly here. However, you're going to have to basically go back to the first two examples that we used. If you wanted to use like an image link, they would need to come in here. And if I grab my previous link that we did, if I copy that, you can just jump in here and paste it into your email if you wanted to do it that way. But if we're going about speed and trying to make this as what are the quickest ways to be able to send demos out, this part you're still going to have to go through Snap or through the platform to generate an image link and send it out. Okay, and this is the same across leads as well. So if you came in here and said, hey, I want to be able to see this lead and then send a demo board, same principle applies. So lead, account, contact, opportunity. One of the big benefits that I see, at least for the Salesforce integration, is not as much in sending the demo boards, but as more so on consuming the analytics for an organization. So if we jump back into MetaTech here, one of the things that I think is really beneficial is it allows you to be able to see who are all of the people at this opportunity or within this opportunity who have received a demo. What have they received? So it's going to give us the demo, the actual demo title. It's going to give us the total view time for those who have actually, consumed content in here. It's going to show the day since they were last active. What's the, importance levels of the features. And then at any point, I can easily just come in here and click on the heat map, and then it will pop open the heat map and allow us to be able to see what's happening. So real simple, what takes you maybe 2 or 3 clicks inside of Consensus to get into your track demo boards, search for the company, grab the user, go to their analytics. You can easily see from here and then click right into the heat map. Okay, so that wraps up our Salesforce piece. Really excited about this. This one continues to go through different iterations and it will continue to be refined. lot of feedback from clients on ways that we can continue to make this as streamlined as possible. So look forward to those as well. Now, the very last one that we have here to review today is making sure that we go through the um, the mail merge use case. And that mail merge use case is going to be, there's going to be a lot of lift at the beginning to be able to then send out to a whole bunch of prospects. The idea is that you can do a mass email and send personalized content instead of relying on maybe a public demo or something that may not be as personalized to the prospects.
Hey,
So
Alex.
in order to, yeah, question on that?
Yeah, just to confirm. So on that last one that you confirmed is how to pick from the demos available are populated here from that one in the chat. Just to confirm the question that popped up, even for those reps who do not have rights in consensus, they are still able to see these analytics. Is this correct?
I believe there's something in the settings that will not allow them to be able to see the analytics. We'll have to confirm with product on that one. But I know that they're looking at making it so that the tie between the two systems also allows them to have permission. So if they see a sales rep is in Salesforce but doesn't have a user license connected back to Consensus, then some of this information won't be available to them. That said, we are looking at having with our professional version of the Salesforce integration, it allows you to be able to push this all into reports. So if you wanted to look at the opportunities who have demos, you'll be able to push that into a type of report that may be available. But I would have to confirm Connie on that one just to be sure, to make sure I'm not giving you a wrong answer. But my gut is telling me that they will not be able to see this information if they don't have a user license. Yep. Okay, so to wrap up on our final one here, it's going to be totally different from what we have been doing, because in these sessions we've been sending to a specific person and or a group of people at one company, and maybe it's sending multiple demos, but you're able to then go through and just do one-off scenario. What we want to do is talk about how you can do a mass email if you're going to send to multiple users. You've got a whole list of prospects and you don't want to sit and take a whole afternoon to create a whole list of personalized demos for that group to be able to view the content. So in order to do that, we have to use the mail merge integration. And there's a few things to start with. As you're building out your mail merge campaign, you need to create a list of users. And this is where the most time is going to be spent. You're going to add their first name, their last name, their email, and company. If you have those four things, you will be able to put or compile a list together. And the example I have to show you today is through HubSpot, because that's the only tool that we use for mass emailing. But there are ways, and I know that there's people on this call today who are using this with Word and Outlook. So they're going in and creating an email campaign, a mail merge campaign through the tools that they have through Microsoft. We have a whole knowledge base article on that as well. So if there are people who are interested in that use case, who have the tools, maybe the only way they can send this out is through Outlook and that's all they have. We have ways that you can do this as well. And it's very similar to what we're doing here. Just there's a few nuances with Outlook. So with this use case for HubSpot, I created this basic list. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to upload it into your tool, whether that's, Outlook or excuse me, Outreach or SalesLoft or Marketo or whatever the tools you do for mass email. In our case, this is what it looks like for HubSpot. So I have the ability to map out the first name, the last name, email, and company. And then what you're going to do is you're going to actually hop over to Consensus. And in the upper right-hand corner, there's the cog here. And if you go down to this mail merge button, it will then allow you to be able to create a new link. So if we just say create new, and I say this is our HubSpot email sequence number 2. Now we're going to go in for our demo and find, I want to send the Consensus standard demo as our example. And now you'll see a list of all of the different tools that we plug into already that are already mapped for the default settings, for Eloqua, for MailChimp, Marketo, Pardot. All of these are available today. if you don't have a tool that's outlined here, like for example, the Outlook and the Microsoft Word example, you would have to click the other option and you can manually add those fields that you need to use to be able to sync up the information to your system and send it out. But we're going to go ahead and map this out to HubSpot. And there's a few things I want to call out before we actually create this link. And the first one here is you have the ability to combine recipients within the same organization into a single demo board. And the example is I've got 15 people at McDonald's and I'm going to send them a demo. And if all 15 people at McDonald's watch that demo, they're all going to be put in the same demo board. So Ronald McDonald is going to see that the Hamburglar watched the demo. They're going to be on the same demo. If you don't want that, you can always turn this off. And that way, Ronald McDonald and the Hamburglar, which is the most ridiculous examples, but it was the first thing that popped in my head, they will see different demo boards. So one's going to be unique to Ronald, one's going to be unique to the Hamburglar. My recommendation is to turn those on. If you've got multiple people at one company, it's best to have them there because if they see, again, as has been stated in some of the other sessions, if Sam is my boss and I see that Sam's on the demo board and he's watched it, it puts that extra pressure on me to be able to make that happen as well. So the other thing to note is whoever creates this demo board is going to be the person who receives the notifications. So because I'm the one who created this, all of the view notifications, the share notifications, all that's going to be generated and sent back to me. If I want other people to be added to this, I can click into this and say, I want, Billy Zane here to be another person who receives those analytics. And now they'll be able to have access to the same views and analytics that I see. Once you've added the people here, there is also another section that would allow you to be able to put your contact information on the demo board. So if this was my own personal list that I was sending out to, and I wanted to have my phone number and my LinkedIn and calendar, link in the actual demo board, that's a setting that you would turn on globally that would allow users to dictate who would have access to do that. Now that we've got everything lined up, we're going to go ahead and click on Create Link. I'm going to copy that link. And now what I'll do at this point is after I've uploaded my list of users into HubSpot, you have the ability to jump over here. And for HubSpot, it's a little bit different. It wasn't the same as what we had when we used Outreach. So it's a little different here. But if I just paste this link in here, there is a link here that you can see that has the fields, and HubSpot calls these tokens, but inside of Consensus, we call these the mail merge fields. But you can see that we've highlighted first name, last name, email, and company. Again, that goes back to the list that I created. It needs to line up with these 4 things in order for this to be synced between the two. The other thing that you can do is if you don't want this long, nasty link, you can make a button in HubSpot, and all these tools are going to interact differently. Outreach, we would just use a JPEG of took a screenshot of the demo player and use that as our call to action. And then we would place this link behind it. In HubSpot, it allows you to be able to go through and assign the actual link to that button. So I would grab this same link and paste it in here. And then once I've modified everything, I'm ready to go. I'll just go ahead and click save. And now this demo is ready to go out. I don't have this link to any recipients in this example, so can't really send this live. But what it will do is of these 4 people that I have listed, when it sends this email out, they click on their name, it's going to automatically populate their first, last name, email, and company into the demo board with that one link. I won't have to go through and add them individually. And then it allows them to be able to consume the content and do it without having to fill out any type of data as well.
Hey, Alex, it looks like we got a question here.
Yeah. So it says, hey, Bob, I'm assuming there's no, or hey, Alex, from Bob. I'm assuming there's no way to associate a specific salesperson in that mail merge so the individual salesperson can see the analytics on their specific prospect customer, correct? That would have to be a manual alignment, I suppose. So what they can do, good question, Bob, is back in here, if they say, hey, I want a sales rep to be able to view these analytics, you would add them as a notifier. And then what that does is anyone who's been added as a notifier for this particular email link that's going out, they'll see their analytics in the track demo board section. So when they come in here, anyone who consumes this, if we look at the 4 that we had, from MetaCortex or computerstuff.net, they would, in their track demo boards, it's going to show up for me and any of the other recipient that I've added in this section here. The best practice for that is to actually have the reps create their own mail merge link. And if they create that link, then they know that they're going to be the one who's always getting those notifications. And a facilitator doesn't have to create it and get, notifications for every person on their team when these, mail merge campaigns go live. It can then just be directed back to the sales rep. So hopefully that answered your question. But there are ways that you can go through as well in the sales Demolytics to just be able to capture, these are all of the users who have consumed the content, and then it can be distributed out through the organization reports or whatnot. Okay, so we are quickly coming up on time, and that concludes the 6 different things that we wanted to run through today. I really appreciate the questions coming through. Are there any other questions or things that the team had that we can answer with the last few minutes that we have here?
Looks like we had a few, Alex. When will the Outlook for Mac integration be available? I wasn't sure if you touched base on that one yet.
So the Outlook for Mac integration is set to release. It's supposed to be the end of this year. Is the goal is Q4. So if it's not in Q4, it'll be early Q1. But the last things that we had to do with the Outlook for PC was to build a wizard so that downloading and installing that integration is much easier. So that has been completed, and now they're setting sites on the Outlook integration for Mac. So should be just right around the corner.
Perfect. And then will we be able to know in the Demolytics what tools and integrations our teams are using to generate demo boards?
Yes, so that's something that the team is also working on. There's a logging update that's going on as we speak that will allow us to have better visibility into how users are creating the demo board. So if you wanted to know, does your team primarily create demo boards from Snap or from Outlook or Salesforce? We're working on ways to be able to make that accessible on the or through the Demolytics. So that one I don't know the specific ETA on, but it is something that we're very aware of because we do want to be able to make sure that teams are using the integrations that will be most beneficial for them.
Perfect. That looks like a tip for so far.
Cool. Okay. Well, just to then highlight what's coming down the pipes here. Let me share my screen. And so the next sessions that we have coming up at the top of the hour here is there's 6 types of video content to help progress your sales cycle. Excuse me, given by Thomas Edwards, who I know is a fantastic solution consultant. He has a ton of experience. He has his own blog that he pushes out for SE content. So if you want another view on content creation, he's definitely a session that I would put a key in. And then if you're not sick of hearing from me, you'll hear from me again in the next session, only for a little bit. I'll be tag teaming this with our product manager, Brian Zurcher. And the whole goal of our next session is to talk about ways that you can lock down your demos today. What are the settings that you have available? And then we'll give you a peek into what are the settings coming down the road that will allow you to have greater customization on who can view your content, what restrictions you can put into play. So those are the 2 sessions that are coming up. Hope you can attend, and we appreciate everyone joining us today. And
hey, Alex,
if there are, question?
Really quick. Ken asked earlier if we were able, or you were able, to send out the demo template for reps to know what demos they should use or when. I don't know if that's
yes. Yeah. So that's our implementation best practices document, and we can make that available to anyone. So reach out to your client success manager, and they'll be able to send it over through PPT if that's easiest, so that you can edit those. And then that way you can change it up however you see fit to make it accessible to your clients.
Awesome. Looks like that's it.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody. Appreciate the comments, appreciate the feedback, and hope you get something out of the sessions today, and we'll see you at the next one.